Hello and welcome to today's Q&A with the Greater Birmingham Chambers of Commerce. Today I am joined by Nicola Turner, Director of Legacy for Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games. I think one of the most exciting jobs in the country at the moment. And this is our second Q&A. We last caught up back in August. So Nicola, what's happened since August? What have you been up to at Birmingham 2022?
Oh, we've been busy. We've actually we passed the 300 days to go mark in at the end of September, and it's just been a bit of a wild ride since then. We have launched something called Gen 22, which is we're hoping to bring 1,000 assignments to young people aged 16 to 24 who are from the West Midlands, but who've told us that they might find it difficult to engage with some of the other opportunities that the Games has to offer. I think it's quite difficult for young people under the age of 18 to engage with some of the opportunities we've got in volunteering, for example. You have to be over 18. And if you want a job on the Games, then because we're an arm's length body, we do a DBS check, and if you've got any kind of criminal conviction, then you're not going to be able to work for the organising committee. So young people told us about some of these barriers, and because the bid was really majoring on the youth and diversity of Birmingham and the West Midlands, we felt that we needed to respond. So we've created a programme called Gen 22, and what we'll be looking for are assignments, social action assignments that will be 30 hours long, that can start between now and the Games, that young people can get involved in. So community projects, if your business has got a CSR set of objectives, we'd love to hear from you. And I can give you, Henrietta, the details about the Gen 22 email address for your business hub if anyone's interested.
Fantastic.
I don't know if anybody has met Perry, but Perry the mascot seems to have gone down really, really well with all ages. He is going to be visiting schools over the next 9 months as we approach the Games, and we've had 400 applications from local schools for Perry to go into assemblies. So he should be a major part of our schools engagement programme. But we've also been really busy working with our suppliers on the Games. So the contractors who have been successful in getting a contract with the Games, they put in a wide range of social value commitments so that the businesses and the people of the West Midlands would benefit. And I was on a webinar yesterday with Sunset and Vine, who are the host broadcaster contract supplier. And they are looking for, at the moment, 200 trainees. They're looking for people who are over the age of 19, who've never got any experience in TV or sport broadcasting, but would either like a career change, or you may know young people amongst your friends and family who might be interested in getting involved in once in a lifetime here happening in the region. Would you like to learn how to be working in TV and on sport broadcasting? They're going to offer 150 jobs to local people. You have to have a West Midlands address to be able to apply for one of these boot camps. And I can put those details in the chat if anybody knows people that might be interested. And the last thing I'd say is, I don't know if people have been into the centre of Birmingham in the last few months, but the University of Birmingham has been running the Volunteer Selection Centre. I've been down there and done a shift to interview volunteers. It was enormously inspiring. They've got a big exhibition to give those volunteers coming for interview an experience. And 25,000 people will be interviewed between September and the end of December. And we will come out of that in the beginning of February time with offers for our Commonwealth Collective, which will be the workforce of volunteers that will have the foam fingers, that will be at venues and at train stations, welcoming visitors to the region.
It's fantastic. Such a brilliant response to the volunteering, and that Commonwealth Collective will just add a real buzz to the city around the Games, won't they? And also great to hear the wider community opportunities, employment opportunities, and that piece for businesses to get involved in some of that legacy aspect of putting forward ideas around CSR for Gen 2022. You mentioned our Commonwealth Business Hub. For those who haven't come across it before, if you go to www.greaterbirminghamchambers.com, you will find we have a nice section of our website just setting out all the different opportunities for businesses, the different types of activity going on, and where you can find out more about them. So thank you very much for that update there. So that's what's been over the last couple of months, and quite a lot for just from August. What have you got coming up over the next couple of months?
So we are starting to evaluate some of the legacy activities that we're doing, and the government is spending a lot of money on the programme, but we've also been able to either accelerate investment in things like transport and housing off the back of the games being hosted here. But we've also seen some discretionary investment coming into the region from places like the Community Lottery Fund or the European Social Fund. And we've been invested in by the LEP and also by people like the Police and Crime Commissioner to deliver some of the things I talked about earlier, the Gen 22 project, for example. So the Games evaluation will look at how that money's been spent and look at what benefits there have been economically, but also socially. And the framework for that will be published in about 3 weeks' time. That will be made public, what indicators we're going to be measuring, and the sort of when people will hear how successful this Games has been at its return on investment. The schools engagement programme that I mentioned, some of that work with schools will also start over the autumn. We're talking to people in schools about hosting some big events in the around Easter time and as we roll up to the Games. But we're also getting ready for the cultural festival. So it is 11 days of sport, but there will be a 6-month cultural festival happening all around the region. Hopefully we'll seamlessly take the baton from Coventry City of Culture and keep the momentum going, start drumming in interest and visitors to the region as a result of the cultural festival. And the Commonwealth Active Communities projects will also be announced. These are a Sport England investment in the region. There'll be one in Solihull, one in Coventry and Warwickshire, another covering the Black Country, and a 4th one in Birmingham. And this will be one of the ways that we're hoping to improve health and well-being amongst people off the back of the Games.
That's fantastic. So it really is what this is all about, isn't it? Like you say, 11 days of sport, amazing, brilliant. It's going to be lots of good fun, great celebration, but it's that economic impact and that lasting legacy that really is the motivation behind bringing the Games to the region. Speaking of which, we do occasionally hear from businesses who are finding at the moment they're struggling with how to engage with the Games, you know, where those opportunities are to be part of it and generally feel like it's impacting their business. Is there anything coming up that you'd highlight to those businesses? What would you recommend?
My first tip would be, if you haven't already registered for the procurement portals, I would do that straight away. So there are 2. There's the Organising Committee procurement portal, and there's also the Birmingham City Council procurement portal, and that's where most of the purchasing is being done. And I think, Henrietta, your hub actually gives people the link straight through to the Find It in Birmingham pages and the Games procurement portal. So I would say tick that off your list first. The second thing is we have a community engagement newsletter, and that starts to give people a regular drumbeat of notices about things coming up, like potential road closures, events happening in the local area that you could potentially go along to. And I think that will give you a flavour, if you like, of some of the things coming up. But things will really start to hot up after Christmas. So from January, there will be a programme coming forward that will help businesses get ready for the Games coming to Birmingham. So there will be some training in there for retail establishments that will be on the routes that the venues will have lots of people passing through. and also we'll be hearing about how local businesses can, what some of the restrictions are on things like, whether you can use the games and put posters up and things like that, or some of the opportunities. And from March, I think we're also going to see the city centre here in Birmingham, but also some of the other town centres around the region getting a lot busier, because there will be the start of the cultural festival. So there'll be events happening, certainly here in Centenary Square, Victoria Square and Chamberlain Square, but I know also in some of the other towns around West Midlands. Also, the transformation of the city is going to start taking effect from around March, April. And this is where you'll start to see the city dressing coming in, the flags and the banners and the flowers, and that will all start to come into effect then. The last thing I'd say is, for any businesses out there that have got ideas for something that would make an excellent souvenir from the Games, there is a way to contact the Commonwealth Games Federation Partnerships team, who are looking for people to make applications at the moment to create licensed products. So I can give that email address also at the end to put into your business hub. The last thing I'd say on that, Henrietta, is I was reflecting last week. I don't know how many people saw the QBR coverage, so the QBR is the Queen's Baton Relay. And I happened to have gone to Buckingham Palace to see the Queen hand the baton with her message inside it to Cadena Cox, who has taken the baton on the first leg of its journey. This is a bit like the Olympic torch, but it's the Queen's message to take around the 72 nations and territories of the Commonwealth. And I think if I was marketing a business at the moment and I had potentially roots in one of the Commonwealth countries that the baton is going to visit, I might be trying to make something of that and follow the baton's route. For example, it started off from Birmingham Airport on the 8th of October and it landed in Cyprus, and there was a huge amount of social media from the Cypriot community about the baton being there. But I think that was eclipsed by the amount of social media activity that Malta has given to the baton. It has been a real blow up of local officials and businesses and local people pleased to have the baton arrive. I think because the pandemic has meant that we haven't been able to travel ourselves, I think I potentially would be using the baton's journey to perhaps raise awareness of my services or products. I don't know if the Chamber is doing anything around the Queen's Baton Relay.
Well, I'm glad you asked, Nicola. We are indeed. We have, as one of our divisions under the Greater Birmingham Chambers of Commerce, is the Greater Birmingham Commonwealth Chamber of Commerce, which their purpose is to focus on bilateral trade between local businesses and Commonwealth markets. And I can't go into too much detail just yet, or I'll be told off by our press team. But we are going to be announcing a number of memorandums of understanding agreed with partners along the route of the Queen's Baton Relay. That's in-market partners who have agreed to help us with activity to drive those connections between businesses in the local area and those Commonwealth markets, and look at opportunities to support trade activity between those two areas. So it's exciting stuff. There's lots of other activity associated with those agreements, but watch the space. And I'm glad you mentioned as well the procurement side of things, because I know since the start of all this, we've been keeping an eye out for those different procurement opportunities going live and sharing them with Chamber members in those sectors to really try and engage local businesses in that supply chain. And I know there's some talks under the way around potential supply chain engagement activities, so working with your bigger contractors to raise awareness of contract opportunities that they have in the local business community. So we're really looking forward to developing those conversations as well. But like you say, it's an exciting catalyst and lots to come from the sounds of it in the new year as that sort of cultural activity really ramps up and the city starts looking like it's ready to host this fantastic games.
Well, Birmingham's never hosted an event of this size before. And when you think that there will be, 11 days of sport, but what that will bring is 6,500 athletes and officials here to the city. They'll be hosted in the 3 different athletes villages, one at Warwick, one at Birmingham University and one at Perry Bar. But also that the eyes of the world will be watching their athletes, and they're predicting something like 1.5 million viewers. So that's a lot of eyes on Birmingham, and that's that doesn't include the number of visitors that we hope we'll also have. The plan at the moment is that all of our stadia will be full of audience. So it will be the first major multi-sport event that will have had full stadia, because I think that was one of the weird things about watching the Tokyo Olympics. Yeah. So I think 2022 has got some hope and optimism written all over it. The chance for us to come together again. And our city and our region is the only place in the country with an event like this next year. So the number of potentially jobs that it's going to boost, and the number of opportunities that it could catalyse. We're really interested to hear from businesses as well, as if you are doing something that you aim to make the most of games around. I'd love to hear from you.
Fantastic. It really is, as you say, a unique opportunity for the region. And even though it must have been pretty challenging trying to plan a games during a pandemic, actually the timing could be perfect for really re-kickstarting visitor economy, arts, culture, those sectors that have been among the hardest hit by the pandemic. So it really is exciting on that front. So through to final comments then, Nicola. What's your final message to the business community? If you could ask them to remember one thing or take away one thing, what would it be?
I think it's, can you in your marketing make the most of any of the stuff going on the games at the moment? Can you link it to some of the things going on, like the QBR, like we talked about, is traveling the world at the moment? Is there anything that you can do? Also, sign up for the community engagement newsletter, sign up to the procurement portal to make sure you're getting the notifications about things that are happening. And I think, we are listening. People would like to have some kind of supply chain event next year, and we're taking up that challenge, and we are working with you to hopefully put on an event that we can invite people to, so that you can, dare I say it, meet face to face with some of the suppliers on the games, and watch this space. I hope we're going to do another one of these where I can tell you a bit more about the preparations for city readiness, and the things I talked about what's coming through in January and March time. But I'm delighted that you've had me on to talk about this today, and I'm very happy to speak to any businesses that would like any more information on our legacy programme, or on how they can get involved from a CSR point of view.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Nicola, and we will absolutely be having you back, not just because I'm going to be getting the result of the national ticket ballot soon. I've got a few tickets in the West Midlands ballot, but was that enthusiastic? I've gone for the national ballot too. So looking forward to the outcome of that. And I know you've been exceptionally well subscribed in terms of ticket numbers as well, which really bodes well for the sort of excitement building and the engagement we're going to see next year. So thank you again, Nicola. Final message from me to everyone watching. Don't forget to check out the Commonwealth Games Business Hub on the Greater Birmingham Chambers of Commerce website. Like I say, we're trying to pull together all these different strands of activity, all the things that are going on in one place, so you can pick and choose those bits that you're keen to engage with more. So do check that out. Thank you again, Nicola. Look forward to seeing you again in a few months' time.
Thanks very much, Henrietta. Bye-bye.